Dear you, I'm writing to you from a version of yourself who remembers the heaviness you carried during the season when everything felt emotionally draining, even when nothing was wrong. You woke up tired, moved through your day tired, and went to sleep feeling a different kind of tired. The kind that settled deep inside your chest. It wasn't the exhaustion of lack of sleep or too much work. It was the invisible kind, the emotional weight that made even simple moments feel heavier than they should have. I remember how confusing it was. You tried to explain it to yourself, but the words never fit. You told yourself you were fine, because there wasn't a clear reason not to be. But inside, your emotions felt worn thin, stretched to the point where even small things felt overwhelming. A text you didn't have energy to answer. A conversation you couldn't bring yourself to start. A responsibility that felt too heavy, even though you used to handle it easily. You kept hoping it would pass, but each day carried the same quiet weight. There were moments when you sat in silence, staring at nothing, feeling everything and nothing at once. Moments when your thoughts felt foggy, disconnected, like your mind was trying to move through thick air. Moments when you didn't want to talk, not because you didn't care, but because you didn't have the energy to be present. You weren't sad. You weren't angry. You weren't hopeless. You were simply exhausted in a way that didn't show on the outside. You didn't want to worry anyone. You didn't want to sound dramatic. You didn't want to admit how drained you felt because you were afraid people would ask questions you didn't know how to answer. So you kept pretending you were okay. Even though your heart felt frayed, you kept fulfilling your responsibilities. Even though they felt heavier, you kept showing up. Even though you longed for a break that didn't require explanation. I saw the way you pushed through each day while your inner world ached quietly. I saw the way you kept functioning when your emotions barely had space to breathe. I saw the quiet resilience in the way you held yourself together without expecting anyone else to hold you. None of it made you weak. It made you human, a human carrying too much without knowing how to put anything down. Your past self understands now that emotional exhaustion is not always caused by a single crisis. It often comes from accumulation, small stresses, unspoken fears, suppressed emotions, expectations you tried to meet, disappointments you tried to ignore, days that demanded more energy than you had, nights where your mind didn't rest even if your body did. None of these things felt catastrophic on their own, but together, they slowly drained your inner reserves. You weren't weak for feeling overwhelmed. You weren't dramatic for feeling tired. You weren't too sensitive for struggling to hold it all. You were running without refueling. You were giving without receiving. You were absorbing without releasing. Your emotional exhaustion came from carrying things you didn't realize were heavy. The conversations where you comforted others, even though you needed comforting. The situations where you stayed calm when your heart was anxious. The moments where you swallowed your feelings to avoid conflict. The pressure you put on yourself to be reliable, steady, composed, capable. All the time, Your past self sees now that your exhaustion was actually a message from your inner world. I need rest. Not the kind of rest you get from sleep, but the kind of rest that comes from honesty, from letting yourself slow down, from acknowledging your limits, from allowing your heart to release what it has been quietly holding. You didn't recognize the exhaustion because you kept comparing your struggles to those of others. You told yourself other people had it harder. You told yourself there were bigger problems in the world. You told yourself you should be able to handle more. And every time you minimized your feelings, the exhaustion deepened. You didn't need to push through. You needed permission to feel. You needed understanding instead of pressure. You needed softness instead of strength. Your past self finally understands that emotional exhaustion is a sign of how deeply you care. It is not a failure, it is a signal. It means your heart has been working overtime without rest. It means you've been carrying your emotions quietly. It means you've been strong for too long without letting yourself be held. And that realization, though painful, is also the beginning of healing. Now, I'm speaking to the version of you reading this. The you who still feels emotionally tired sometimes. The you who still carries more than you show. The you who still wonders if the heaviness will ever fully lift. I want you to breathe slowly and let this truth soften your chest. You are allowed to rest emotionally. You are allowed to set things down. You are allowed to set things down. You are allowed to be tired without needing a dramatic reason. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify your feelings. You don't have to wait until you break to take care of yourself. You've spent years being strong, steady, dependable, often for others, rarely for yourself. Now it's time to relearn softness. It's time to listen to your inner world. It's time to let your heart recover from everything it endured quietly. Emotional rest looks different for everyone, but for you, it begins with honesty. It begins with acknowledging when you feel overwhelmed. It begins with giving yourself space to slow down. It begins with letting go of the pressure to be okay all the time. It begins with allowing yourself to feel what you truly feel. The exhaustion you carry is not permanent. It lightens when you begin releasing the things that don't belong to you anymore. Old expectations, old roles, old self-criticism, old responsibilities that were never yours to keep. You don't have to carry everything you've been holding, and you don't have to carry anything alone. Your emotional spark will return. Your energy will return. Your clarity will return. Your sense of self will return. Your joy, yes, even that will return. Not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly, softly, in the quiet moments, the gentle pauses, the honest breaths. Your past self is proud of you for surviving the exhaustion. Your future self is grateful for every moment you choose rest. And your present self is doing the most important thing of all, continuing. Even when continuing feels heavy, take one more deep breath. Let it release some of the weight you've held for too long. Let it remind you, you are not failing. You are healing, and healing takes energy. You are finally learning to give yourself. You deserve rest. You deserve peace. You deserve to feel whole again. Sincerely, you.